like Jussie has to pay the price. She basically said, we can't have a culture that incites that the victim can't be believed based off of what Jussie did. And Jeannie went on to say that if Jussie was in fact lying, he needs to be punished. Well, Amanda Seales chimed in and said that she felt it may be low-key noble that Jussie pulled off this hoax, and that she likened Jussie's situation to Emmett Till's accuser, who is still walking around free. And if you are unfamiliar with the Emmett Till story, Emmett Till was a young black man who, at the age of, I believe, 14 years old, was accused of whistling at a white woman. And he was killed because of it. It later came out that she lied about the situation that had taken place, and he in fact had not whistled at her or come on to her or said anything derogatory to her. So this young black boy's life was snuffed from him because a white woman wanted to accuse him of making advances towards her, and that turned out to be untrue. Now, oh God. All right, you guys, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, do you guys watch The Real? And since Amanda Seales has been on The Real, what do you guys think about that? Now, here's my opinion. I believe that Amanda is brilliant. I believe, however, that she carries an energy that could be combative sometimes. Period. That's just my opinion of her. I don't know her like that. I respect her intelligence. I think that she has a wide range of I believe she holds a master's in African American studies. She's a brilliant young lady, and she has really kind of blazed her way through this industry with a lot of hard work and a lot of perseverance. However, I don't think that she is the right mix for that show. And based off of what I saw this week with her and Jeannie Mai and the eye rolling and I get the feeling a lot of times that when I'm watching it, because it's not necessarily what she says, but her body language, that kind of feels to me almost like she shouldn't be there. The fit doesn't seem right. And it doesn't come off to me like the girls, like she doesn't get along with the girls. I feel like she probably does get along with the girls. But it's the same thing that I feel when I see Amanda on Insecure. And not necessarily, I think she does a brilliant job at playing the role of Tiffany Dubois on Insecure, but every time I see the group of Insecure actors outside of work and they're hanging out together, I get the feeling that Amanda Seales would not be somebody that would hang out with them. And I think that mutual, just like, nah, you're not for me. I think it's mutual. I think that, like, I've never really seen her hang out with Yvonne and Issa and any of the gentlemen on the show. I haven't. And I also haven't seen, like, I don't see her with them like that. And I don't think that I will see Amanda going to Adrian Houghton's house for a wang dang doodle of a time. Like, I don't think I'm going to see Jeannie and Amanda just kicking it. You know, maybe at the most, maybe Lonnie and Amanda, because Lonnie also sometimes can come off as like, I'm too smart to be here. You know, my opinion is not opinion. It's actually fact. That's the energy sometimes that Lonnie gives off. And I think that sometimes when I watch The Real, like the chemistry doesn't seem authentic with adding Amanda to the mix. I think that she was added for clicks and for watch because Amanda was known for delivering her own thoughts via Instagram on her personal page. And I don't know, Amanda Seales is someone to me that should probably have her own show. That's the vibe that I get from her. She should have her own talk show. I almost want to see Amanda Seales in a late night cable talk show where she can talk her shit, where she can have guests come on. Like, I would see her almost like a black female Bill Maher. Like, I could see her doing that. I don't think that this mix and it really played out like kind of awkwardly, and it was awkward to watch her and Jeannie's exchange. And let me tell you, Jeannie Mai was like not even paying it to Amanda. She kind of just was like, oh, okay, well, that's just my opinion. You know, I feel like he should go to jail if he did it, like whatever. And Amanda was kind of like rolling her eyes like, nah, all the white people who did that need to go to jail. And it was like, oh, child. It was tense. I will say this. I believe that Amanda had a point. If you've been following the news this week, now I know that a lot of you don't like to follow politics, but Andrew Yang has since dropped out as a Democratic contender for the race for being the Democratic nominee for president. And he is allegedly thinking about giving it a run as the mayor of New York City, which I think would be phenomenal because our current mayor is a shithead. But if you have been following politics this week, you will see that Roger Stone, who is one of Trump's biggest allies, who was convicted on 7 counts of obstruction of justice, which should have resulted in 9 years in jail. His time may be getting the hookup pardon from his homeboy, Donald Trump. This Tuesday, the entire team of lawyers who prosecuted Stone, they all resigned after the Justice Department overruled the sentencing recommendation given by these prosecutors. And they basically said, listen, if you guys are not going to really do your due diligence in this court of law and throw the book at this man for obstructing justice, then we don't even want to be a part of it. I've never seen a sweeping quit like that where like everybody, the entire prosecution of lawyers, the entire team of prosecuting lawyers, they all quit. Their sentencing recommendation, which should raise concerns for political interference. So, Donald Trump has not ruled out the idea of being able to pardon his ally, Roger Stone. But I want to tell you guys, do not take your eye off the ball. I know that there is a lot going on, and we're currently watching all of this like juicy stuff happening in social media with all of these different celebrities. But just keep in mind, a lot of that stuff is there to serve as a distraction for what we should be paying attention to, and that is the politics as it stands in our country. And before you know it, November will be here, and it is imperative that you are armed with the knowledge so that you can vote based not on feeling or skin color, but you are voting based off what is best for our democracy. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and set the table for instincts. Be right back. All right, and we are All right, so every week we set the table for, just the mindfulness journey that we are on together. And sometimes I am pressed to figure out, like, what are we going to set the table for this week? And I might come up with something, and I might say, you know what, that's a brilliant idea. Let's just go ahead and do that. We'll set the table for this particular thing, and then I'll get there and I'll start questioning myself, and I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should do this. And this led me to want to bring up the idea of instincts. Now, instincts are a culmination of your heart intelligence, your situational intelligence, and your mental intelligence fused together with your unique DNA. They join forces in an instant to send you impulses to move, right? Now, there are different types of of instincts that humans carry. Survival instinct, killer instinct, territorial instinct, sexual instinct, reproductive instinct, tribal instinct, which could be argued that it is secondary, and social instinct, right? Now, here's the thing. Instincts in terms of being used to describe a set of behaviors are both unlearned and set in motion as a result of an environmental trigger. Now, a lot of us don't trust our instincts. And when you think about it, everyone is born with them, right? Even babies who depend on another person to provide everything for them. Even babies are born with the instinct of survival. Their survival depends on other people because they're born helpless. But babies can make their distress known to people just by basic sounds. And that is really just from within. No one teaches them how to cry. They just know that instinctually that is a way for them to let someone know that they're in need. Right? This led me to believe and to want to ask, do you trust your instincts? Do you trust what you feel inside? Do you trust that inner voice that lauds you to do the next thing? Now, for a lot of us, we struggle with trust. And because we struggle with trust, I think that kind of mars our frequency, so to speak, for instinct. So just like a radio, humans have a frequency that we emit, right? And when we cannot trust ourselves, I think that kind of messes up our instinct frequency, that we start to realize, and this happens a lot when you learn to also not trust other people. Whether that is because of situational happenings or just because that is the way you're raised. I think that a lot of people go through that. How do you sharpen your instincts? I think that you have to get in tune with yourself. So if you're one of these people that every time a decision needs to be made, you have to solicit the advice of your mama, your friends, your this, your that, the counsel of everyone around you. Everyone gets a vote about your life because you don't trust yourself. You may be someone who has a blurry instinct, who may not be in touch with that voice, that inner voice inside. Don't take that for granted. And there are things that you can do to sharpen up your alignment for your instinct. For example, it is often my practice that when I am in a tough spot, I try to get somewhere that is quiet. And there's nothing wrong with soliciting the advice of friends or family for that instance, or even if you go to your therapist, with getting advice from your therapist or your pastor, whoever. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, you have to be able to trust yourself and trust that the decisions that you are making for self are what is right, whether or not they're going to work out. I think a lot of times some of us are just looking for this kind of easy way, like we're looking for the path of least resistance. I think that because of that, we tend to not even want to rely heavily on our instinct when it comes to decision making. You have to learn that whether or not you trust yourself and whether or not you lean on your own understanding for making decisions for yourself, an outcome is not going to be deterred because you took the advice of someone else. Whatever will be, will be. So wouldn't you rather that whatever decision you're going to make from your life, for your life, comes directly from that which is you? And that it is coming from a source of understanding? And a lot of times, listen, I get silent in a place so I can really kind of listen in tune to my body, listen in tune to what my gut instinct is telling me. I will do research. I will seek the counsel of people who have perhaps been through similar situations. I will pray about it, but definitively, ultimately, I trust myself. I trust myself to make a mistake. I trust myself to be able to be repaired from that mistake. I trust that God is not going to lead me down a path that